All right, so we're back with a great question. I really like this one. It says, how do I effectively set my partner up to close out a point and closing points out in general? Too many times my partner and I don't close out a point and we end up losing it. So there's so many ways we could go on this, all right? First of all, the guy or lady, whoever wrote in this, is saying me and my partner. So if you do have a partner to where it's like your partner, that's when you really do want to ramp up the communication off the court and really start to ask, well, what shots do you like? And well, what do you think you're good at? And besides just you kind of feeling what you think your partner's good at, really talk to them and ask them what they like. Do they like their forehand volley better? Do they like their backhand volley? Sometimes you might think they have a better shot on one side and they may actually feel more comfortable on the other side. So you've got to really talk. Communication is so important in doubles. The more you guys can talk about this stuff off the court, the better you're going to be. And the other thing is, Roy Emerson, I think, said it best, was you play doubles for your partner. You're playing to make your partner look good. And by you writing this question, I can tell you're on the right track with your mindset. You're trying to figure out, well, how can we close out points? How can I set up my partner? And I think one of the biggest mistakes made as far as trying to do that, trying to, have your partner and you win points, is that you end up thinking, well, if I can just make all these fantastic shots, if I can, crush the ball at my opponent, then my partner will get a weak ball and they'll be able to put it away. So I'm going to try and power through the court. And this is where you end up really hurting your partner, because especially if you're trying to do a lot of stuff. See, usually it's in the simplicity is where you're going to set up your partner better. Like if you're thinking, well, I'm going to hit one shot here, and then I'm going to hit the next shot there. Like if you're thinking individually about each shot instead of a general strategy that you and your partner have worked on, then that's when you're really hurting your partner, is when you're just kind of like seeing each ball and thinking, well, if I hit this ball over here, then that would be a great shot for me. And if I hit that ball over there, then that's going to be a great shot. Like I see that part of the court. You can't do that, because what's happening as you're doing that, if you're like going, well, I'm going to take one over here, and then I'm going to take the next ball and I'm going to hit it over here, well, now your partner's got to go cover that ball, and then they've got to cover this ball real quick. So they've got to move real quick back and forth, and this is when they're going to start to leave gaps open. If they can't make it over in time and you hit that one shot over there, and then the next shot comes here, well, then Roger is going to actually pass Roger. It's Roger versus Roger. Roger will pass that person down the line if they can't get back fast enough. So I would say one of the biggest advices I have for setting up your partner is really break down usually one side of the court first. Don't think you're going to hit one shot here, then the next shot there, the next shot there. That's not what you want to be doing, because your partner has to move and react to all that, and you get them really out of sync and they can't keep up with that pace. Also, hitting the ball hard, they're not going to be able to see the play. Doubles, you don't have to be crushing the ball to set up your partner. So let's say, for example, on the serving side, this is Rafa. This is going to hurt a little bit, your partner, because your partner is Roger. But you and Roger have to have an honest conversation about the other Roger. And so you want to know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. So this is why it's very important that you come together after every point, and as the match develops, you're also really analyzing and talking to each other about, well, what do they typically do? What are their strengths and their weaknesses? And maybe after a couple games you pick out that Roger up here slices every backhand return. So this is a great opportunity for this player right up here, who happens to be Roger. But we'll stop doing that so it's not confusing. We'll call him Bobby. So Bobby up here, Rafa serves to Robbie. Rafa serves to Robbie. Rafa serves to Roger. And Bobby here now knows that Rafa says, hey, I'm going to slice the ball out wide. I've got a really good lefty slice. I'm going to slice it, and you're going to angle your body this way. See that? So you're going to angle if Rafa serves out here, I'm going to angle my body this way, and then I'm going to be looking to trap any floaty slice thing up the middle. And then I've got to communicate saying, yeah, if I get that weak ball up the middle, I really think I can really go hard at Serena. Or I notice that, this is where you want to start to notice court position. I notice that Serena, stands over here and protects her alley the whole time. So if I get a good look, so you guys start talking about running plays going, well, we know Serena stands over there because she's afraid of the alley. Roger slices a lot of returns, and I've got a really good slice out wide here. So I'm going to put that ball there, make my opponent slice. I'm going to look to cheat to the middle and put the ball away up the middle. So you guys start to talk about plays as the match develops. You can really, I think, in doubles, start to work on 1-2 shot combinations, planning 2 shots ahead, and including, this is very, very important, include your partner in your plan. Don't have this, I think that's a big mistake in doubles. People have this big thing. Let's say Serena's going to go back and return. We know Serena's got a killer forehand. Okay? Serena's got a killer forehand. And she doesn't know yet if Bobby, we'll call him Bobby up here, can volley or not. But she's like, man, I got a killer forehand. And then Roger's up here at the net. And she has in her mind, I'm going to crush this thing down the line. I've got in my head, I think I can crush that down the line. Now that's fine if you're playing singles, but does Roger know that you're planning on doing that? Is he ready for that? Is he ready to see that? Are his eyes going to be ready in case she hits the ball and this guy hits a good volley? If Bobby hits a good volley, is he going to be ready? Most likely not. So things like if you want to go down the line, this is a conversation. This is why it's so important that both returners and receivers are talking between every point. They should have a conversation. Serena should say to Roger, hey, if I get a good look, I'm ripping that thing up the line. Okay, so you may even want to play back, because if I hit the ball really hard, I think it's going to be hard for them to hit a great angle shot. If they hit a great angle shot, it's good for them. Like, they must have amazing hands. But I'm going to rip this thing. So most likely, if they make good contact, they're going to volley it strong either at you or me. So we should play back a little bit. So we'll both play back, and I'm going to rip it at them. And you be ready. Or if you're like, I know they're a weak volleyer, you can take another step. How do you set up your partner? You can go, look, I'm going to rip this up the line. They're a weak volleyer. They cannot get any pace on their backhand volley. So if you hear the ball come off the strings, as soon as you hear the ball come off the strings, Roger, I want you to cheat up a little bit towards the middle. These are conversations you want to have. You guys got to be willing to have constructive conversations, be able to tell each other where to go, kind of like Magic Johnson used to do a lot on the basketball court. He'd dribble the ball up the court, and he would tell all his teammates where he wants them to go. This is the kind of conversations you both should be able to have freely with each other when you're playing doubles. So she's like, I'm going to rip this thing up the line. When I rip this up the line, just hear my strings make contact. If it sounds like I made good contact, cheat up there, because we already know that they have a weak, flubby backhand volley, right? So use your intel. Now, all of a sudden, Serena rips it up the line. The ball just floats over here. Roger moves in here, puts the ball away, and you notice how many times I keep talking about putting the ball away up the middle. The middle is always open for business in doubles, okay? So that's another conversation you can have. Now, you know I'm not a big fan of going down the line too often, or trying to just win your doubles games on power. I think especially at the club level, most doubles points can be won by crafty, smart shots. So we're going to talk about some combinations. We're also going to go through this a lot on the tennis court. showing you how to execute these shots. But what I want to talk about as far as setting you and your partner up, let's talk about the return of serve, because hey, this is Pete from Crunch Time Coaching. Hopefully you guys can see her. These are all very important things so you can become a better poacher. One of my favorite doubles returns is called the chip and charge play. I love this. Roy Emerson says we're all natural pullers of the ball. You want that continental grip. And it's like we're hitting a volley off the bounce. That's all it is. So what we're gonna do right now, I'm gonna feed Matt some lobs, take a look at his overhead, and then we're gonna make him an overhead master overnight.
That would be very valuable.
I want to show a play that's going to work a lot. You don't let your partner kind of know the strategy behind what you're trying to do. It's going to be very ineffective. And trying not to get a big bounce. Big bouncy volleys are one of the biggest killers in doubles. I want to show a great example of a move. Okay, so next thing we're going to go over is the lob volley. It is a great play, especially when you got all four people up there. Rather than try and hit through them, you just hit a nice little lob over their head. Tennis nut and fitness guru Matt Bradshaw, also a rock star.
Training yourself to feel that kinetic chain engage, feel the core, the ab muscles, the hips, everything engaged.
Question is, when you get this ball, what is the highest percentage